Good afternoon. We're standing here outside the forecourts in Dublin. Enoch Burke has just been told he's been released from Mountjoy prison after over 500 days of incarceration because of his religious beliefs. He was told that he had to call students by the they, them pronouns. He, of course, said that he couldn't do that. It was against his religious beliefs. He was put into Mountjoy prison and he was told by the judge today in Dublin that he's going to be released. Now, we know, of course, that that's because of the public pressure, and I want to make it very clear today that Enoch Burke has been released from Mountjoy prison, but he is not a free man, because what we heard today was threats, intimidation from the judge. I believe it's a €1,500 fine per day if he returns to his place of work where he's on full pay, where he has a right to turn up to his place of work and teach his students. He did nothing wrong. Many other things happened in the court today. Enoch, you can tell us.
We came into court and Mr. Justice Nolan came in when the court rose and sat down, and one of the first things he said was that if anybody disrupted the court, they'd be removed and they'd be prohibited from attending any future hearings. Now that's illegal. And
yes,
this has been made very clear by Chief Justice O'Donnell in the Supreme Court, the Walsh case. You cannot ban people from attending court hearings. You just can't do that. It's against the law. It's against the Constitution, the requirement that justice be administered in public.
Yes.
So that's what happened there today. It's illegal. And the judge simply refused to acknowledge what he had said, never mind that it was a lie, that it was false, and that it should be taken back. So that is what happened here today. Nothing else of the hearing was heard because the judge simply refused to acknowledge that he had told a lie. And this is the story, really.
Yeah.
Since August 2022, since I have come in here and out of this building here, this is the story. Judges telling lies, coming in with a robe on and a wig on and trained in the law and refusing to acknowledge the truth. That this case is simply about transgenderism, that I was told to use the they pronoun to really put poison into a child's mind, something that would destroy them, and the judges refusing to acknowledge that every single time.
Absolutely. Yes.
Well, of course, they've agreed with the government and with the they've agreed with the government and the ASTI.
Yes.
They've come out and encouraged all teachers to use the they pronoun and to
That's the
support
Teachers' Union.
the Teachers' Union of Ireland, yes, and to support young people along that path of mutilation and puberty blockers, irreversible things that they
Depression,
would
suicide,
go
yeah.
through, medications that would be irreversible. It's tragic what's happening in our land. Government and judiciary agreeing together. It's signed, it's on the books. That's why from the word go, they cannot acknowledge that Enoch Burke's case is about transgender ideology, which it is.
Yes.
And of course we had Moira Whelan on the bench. She shouldn't be there, put in the back door, sitting at the table, put in by Leo Varadkar, an activist for transgender LGBTQ plus ideology, and that was the place it began. Enoch Burke sitting in front
Yes.
from the appeal court, and of course they came back with the results, and it wasn't about transgender ideology, and we oppose that because
Yes.
we cannot sit and listen to lies. We don't expect lies from the judiciary. Nobody should accept lies
Yes.
from the bench.
And that was the day that my father, Sean Burke, told those judges. Judge Moira Whelan slipped in there, not a judge before, slipped, place kept for her. That was the day he told her that the case was about transgenderism and that she was lying. And that is why my father, Sean Burke, is in prison today. That's the reason why. Make no mistake about it.
Yes.
A terrible thing to do to my father, a shop owner from Castlemar, a good man, a righteous man, did nothing wrong, innocent, but put into Mountjoy prison, an oppressive, sad place, because he told the judges they were lying.
Yes, and one of the most concerning things about Sean Burke, we know he's been put into prison now for 2 months.
is that capricious and arbitrary nature of that sentence that was imposed upon him by Judge Ronan Munro. In the earlier trial in the district court, the judge in that case agrees that nothing intentional was done by Sean Burke, that people had simply been passing through a narrow and congested passageway, and that Sean Burke was simply focused on his wife, who was ahead of him. And she left him without a conviction and effectively gave him no sentence in the district court. And then fast forward to the appeal, and Judge Ronan Munro hands down a 2-month sentence. This is unprecedented and really shows a disregard for the law and the facts by that judge in that case.
Well, the allegation, Isaac, there was that Sean Burke, my husband, had taken a Garda, Victoria Fisher, and thrown her against a heater and left her scarred in some way. Bruised. Now, anybody who knows my husband, Sean Burke, knows that if he was paid £1 million, he wouldn't do that. He doesn't do that kind of thing.
Yes.
And as Isaac, you've said, he was cleared totally.
The district court found that nothing intentional was done, and that's why she left him without a conviction and effectively without any sentence.
Yes.
But it's the change, this drastic change that's happened this week in the circuit court that's very concerning.
And that was 2 days we sat in the circuit court in front of Judge Munro. They were horrific days, I have to say. My husband was demeaned. He was made a laugh of by Judge Munro. You felt totally demeaned and brought as low as possible. He was laughed about. He was asked the meaning of words. You just felt you were in a room, you were in a quiet room with Judge Munro and the guards working together from word go. He was mocked, he was told he shouldn't be representing himself. The judge was yawning loudly. He was lifting his eyes to heaven. It was a joke, and we felt utterly demeaned. And my husband was made to feel worthless. The
Sergeant Brian Griffin was the prosecuting Garda, and when he was questioned on the change of evidence that he was giving in the circuit court compared to earlier, he actually cursed while in the witness box. He used the F word.
So after taking up the Bible and swearing before Almighty God, he uses the F word. That is fine. There's no reproof by Judge Munro. And when Judge Munro began to curse himself, I very willingly left the room and didn't return for the final for the sentencing. I couldn't return. It was a desperate place. And at this moment, my husband Sean Burke is in prison. He's in Mountjoy prison for a crime he didn't commit. He has done nothing wrong. He has done, and people who know him all over the country. He worked in the public sector for over 30 years. People who know him know, without the shadow of a doubt, that my husband would never do that.
Absolutely.
So it's a very sad situation we're in, and it's a very sad day for our land when we have lying from the bench. Lying. And Enoch Burke is out now to save their faces like they did last year.
Out, but not a free man, with the threat, the intimidation of this corrupt judicial system hanging over his head. That's where we are today. Enoch Burke is out at the moment. Sean Burke is in Mountjoy prison. On the 7th of March 2023, the judges lied on the bench at that Court of Appeal hearing. They've lied again today, and the pattern continues. And it's right and proper to stand up and speak out and protest when anybody, especially those who are in positions of power like judges in our land, tell lies and break their oath and tear up the constitutional rights that you have. It's right and proper to stand up.
And justice is extremely important. Judiciary is extremely important in any country, and it's a very serious thing when the judiciary and the government are working hand in hand, no separation of powers.
Yes, yeah.
No
That's what we're
separation
seeing.
of powers. The government pushing a hard left ideology right across this country. Minister for Education, a hard left ideology, a removal of Christian belief, and the government working with the judiciary
Yes.
hand in hand.
Yeah, terrible situation.
Yeah.